Tonight, we can exclusively report that detectives have identified and spoken to the man that arm belongs to. Again, that is a big development considering we knew nothing about who that arm belonged to. We can also confirm that the reason detectives went to Chicago, we now know they went to Chicago to interview a person connected to the same home invasion assault case. They are not saying if that person was a suspect, just connected. They're not saying if the person they went to Chicago to interview is the person whose arm that is. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it with the sheriff in just a second. Also tonight, Rachel Morin's family is far from backing down on their fight for answers and justice. I mean, can you blame them? It's so awful. The family and their attorney have now given us permission to announce exclusively on the show that they are doubling the reward from $10,000 to $20,000 for information leading to a conviction of the person responsible for Rachel's murder. We can also report the Spanish language digital campaign the Morin family launched last week has reached over 81,000 people as of this morning. More than 30 ads were posted online in Spanish with the suspect photo after investigators said that they believe the suspect is Hispanic, and that is helping. There are new tips coming in because the family did that. It feels like all of this work is finally getting us closer to a killer. Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gahler is joining me live now. Sheriff, I mean, amazing work. I knew you guys were going to start making progress on this. We knew we just had to wait. I first want to ask you about that arm, because I noticed the arm from the beginning. What can you tell us about who that person is, how you were able to identify that person?
Sure, Brian. And again, thanks for having us on tonight. And again, the opportunity to send this message. We're still looking for this suspect, and any opportunity we have to go national and share this, because we don't know where this guy's laying his head at night. You know, we need people to look at that video, look at that picture, and help us identify him. But indeed, you know, from the beginning, when we had the video, a lot of questions came in about who's closing the door, whose arm is that. And I actually misspoke. I believed it was a female's arm who was in the victim of the assault there. It's actually a male's arm, and investigators had it right. I just had it wrong in one of the earlier interviews. But it is a male's arm, and when our investigators were in Los Angeles, they interviewed many people in reference to what happened out there and tied back to our case. And we were able to speak to that individual as well. And he is not in any way tied to the case as a suspect at all. But he also was not able to provide us an identity of that suspect.
So was there a female victim and also a male victim in the assault?
The male subject was not assaulted, but there were other people in the residence. And again, I have to be very careful on what I speak about. Los Angeles is still investigating that home invasion, that assault that occurred out there, and that's an open case for that agency. And just as I wouldn't want them to, you know, be speaking out of turn or incorrectly about our case, you know, I have to be careful in how far I go with what I say. But we have spoken to that person, and with hopes that he might be able to lead us to an identity to match the person in the video. That was not fruitful at this point in time so far.
It's interesting the way he closes the door. It like almost looks so calm. And I know you have to be careful what you say, and we don't want to do anything to, you know, impede the investigation here. But I mean, did he know the person? Was he able to give you more information about who this person is?
No, he did not know him. At least that's what our investigators have found out so far. That the people in the residence did not know the person who had committed the home invasion and the assault there. But thankfully, they were able to preserve this video evidence, or else, you know, because this happened sometime before our case, you know, way back earlier in the year. And thankfully, without this video, we wouldn't have this image of our suspect, who again is tied back to our homicide here in Harford County, Maryland, because of the DNA.
Do you know how many people were in the house, Sheriff?
I do, but again, it's more than just the two, but I'm not going to go into great detail on something that's not our investigation.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just hoping that if there were more people, hopefully that means more people that you can talk to who can give you like a better idea of what exactly, we see the side profile, but maybe they can give more info on, you know, what his actual face looks like and maybe push things forward that way, hopefully. I want to ask you, number two, about this other development that we've learned about, that you actually went out, or one of your investigators actually went out to Chicago as part of this investigation. What can you tell us about that, Sheriff?
Sure. Information that we learned, our investigators learned out in Los Angeles, led us to another interview that we wanted to do in Chicago, and we wanted to do that in person, cold without the person that we were coming. Not of a suspect. He is not a suspect in any way, but we still wanted to interview that individual cold and try to get facts from him. And I have to say that, again, that person, we spoke to him. He is not a suspect, but he also was not able to help us identify that person.
Okay. Well, I can just hope that all of these little developments are helping us push closer to finding this man who killed Rachel Morin, because that's what we all want, Sheriff. I mean, that's what everybody wants.
100%. We share that desire. Our investigators have worked this case aggressively since August 5th, since August 6th, when her body was discovered here along the hiking trail. And we're far, we're never going to give up, but we're far from exhausting leads that we are currently working. So there's a lot. And as you touched on, the family is working cooperatively with our investigators, letting us know what they're doing. And I learned today that they were going to up the reward. Again, I've said if money is the motivator that has somebody turn this person in, then great. There's no amount that's too great to bring this guy to justice and put him behind bars.
Yeah, and money does motivate people. I mean, we know that. We've seen that on this show. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate, but it does. So hopefully doubling the reward, that will hopefully help. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll stay in touch with you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.